On the morning of April 7, 1994, word came that the plane of the president of Rwanda was destroyed. Even greeting other people became hard that day. That night, for the first time, we saw people coming and killing one and then another.
In April of 1994, the Rwandan genocide began. Before it ended, an estimated 800,000 Rwandans were killed, 11% of the population of Rwanda, 18 times the population of Charlottesville, Virginia, more than the total population of Washington, D.C.
My in-laws tell my husband he should leave me because I was raped and the children may not even be his own. They say I am Tutsi and they are all Hutu.
The genocide destroyed, not only by killing, but by breaking the connections between people, destroying trust within and between individuals, families, and communities. 18 years later, this distrust remains. Genocide survivors, perpetrators, and their families live in the same communities, seeing each other daily, the tension between them often unacknowledged and unresolved. After such destruction, is healing possible? After so many years, can anything be done to rebuild shattered lives? I'm Jim Mustin. In 2005, I traveled to Burundi to learn how the people there responded to the traumas of civil war and genocide. Through the THARS program in Burundi, I came to know Pastor Augustine in the Ihumure Association in Rwanda. Ihumure was formed by community volunteers in Gisenyi, near Rwanda's western border with the Congo. In the Rwandan language, Ihumure means hope. Hope for coming out of the dark places of despair and returning to life. Ihumure's leader is Pastor Habimana Augustine, a Quaker minister with a passion for trauma healing and reconciliation. In 2010, I saw Ihumure in action at a workshop on forgiveness in Gisenyi. The participants were a mix of genocide survivors and recently released prisoners who had served long prison terms for crimes of the genocide. I was surprised to see these survivors and former prisoners working together in harmony. Augustine explained that survivors and perpetrators have something in common. Both have been traumatized by genocide. After the workshop, Augustine and I visited a genocide memorial in the nearby town of Nyundo. Rosa was our guide at the memorial. After the tour, we asked Rosa what she thought about our workshop for genocide survivors and former prisoners. She immediately said, "We need that here." We learned she was part of a community of genocide survivors who lived a short walk from the memorial. In response to Rosa's request, Ihumure presented a trauma healing workshop in Nyundo in 2012. The workshop was funded by the Charlottesville Friends Meeting and the Environmental Social Justice Club of Charlottesville High School. Pastor Augustine and I interviewed several participants before the workshop.
They use machetes, spears, and other things. We hid in the churches, the buses, the banana trees, everywhere. The killers searched for us. On April 10, I was found and shot in the leg. One of the killers stayed with me while the others went on. When he hit me with the machete, he thought he was cutting my head, but he was cutting my arm. He left me for dead, but I recovered and hid myself. I didn't know if my children were alive or where they were. This was the worst trauma for me. When I finally came home, I learned everyone in my family had been killed. My new community became survivors who, like me, had no one else. Today, we live here together. I hope the trauma workshop will help us feel we are a family and give us courage and hope.
I need my husband's family and my neighbors to respect me and my children. They should stop insulting us and pushing us out. It's like the war never ended. Lately, I think about moving away, but where would I go?
Interahamwe killers came and burned our home after taking every single value. They killed men, women, and children. They mutilated the bodies. When I see the people who did these things to my family, the memories come over me. I feel these memories are destroying my brain. I cry, and I can't seem to get better.
The 3-day trauma healing workshop was held in what was formerly a medical center, now closed due to flooding. There were 30 students and 4 trainers. The trainers, Augustin, Jeanette, Jean-Paul, and Francois, were volunteers dedicated to helping others. Day 1 introduced people and the purpose of the workshop, a chance to safely share things that they had never shared before, and gain some control over unhappy feelings. There was a mix of fun activities, information, and skills. Day 2 focused on compassionate listening and trust, having somebody that is really there for you. Participants were encouraged to go deeply into the memories and share them with the listener. If anyone felt overwhelmed by the bad memories, they knew they could raise their hand or go to a trainer. They could also just leave the room, knowing someone would follow them and listen privately in rooms arranged in advance. The Trust Walk helped participants rediscover how to rely on another person for safety and support. It was a challenging and moving experience. On day 3, many expressed thankfulness and caring.
When I came here, I could not see any way out of my troubles. I was so desperate I was thinking of killing myself. I want to thank all of you for giving me hope.
The class was given a pair of goats to eventually produce goats for all its members. This way, they began to build a better life, a key aspect of trauma healing. The class honored Rosa and Bibiane by making them custodians of the goats. We learned from Rosa that Bibiane's in-laws had changed their attitude. When they saw she had custody of the goats, they viewed her as a person of importance. They didn't want to push her out of the family anymore. I never talked about what happened to me until this week at the workshop. I was just a boy during the genocide. We lived upon the hill then. What happened was that a man raped me and then took me to a friend of his so he could do it as well. These memories are painful. It is a relief to finally share these memories with someone. Rosa was elated. She felt the slate from the past was wiped clean. She had another concern.
The workshop helped with the trauma in the past, but what about the trauma in my life today? I am responsible for my children and my daughter's child as well. I do not have enough to feed them or send them to school. It is a terrible thing to have children in the house and no cooking in the house. I need to earn more money, but I cannot grow crops because of the injury to my hand. I would like to sell beans, but I need money to get started.
Ihumure has a community center in Nyundo. Rosa is its organizer. Rosa and others from the workshop provide compassionate listening at the center 3 days a week. The center hosts women's groups that make and sell crafts. Recently, the center hosted training on trauma-informed mediation by Mediators Beyond Borders International and the Karuna Project, which also provided trauma education and healing. Rosa used part of her community organizer salary to buy beans from local growers and sell them to restaurants in nearby Gisenyi. She has begun to prosper. Jeff continues to struggle, although he feels better. Bibiane's relationship with her in-laws continues to improve. The goats are multiplying.
To our friends and supporters in the United States and around the world, we say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Please remember us in your hearts. Please visit us when you can so we can sing and dance and learn together. Together we can build a place of hope for the many people who need it in our country and in the world.